I never wrote dribble. This is somewhat tied with Shavero's chapter 10 and 11 of Doom Patrols, respectively on Burroughs and Cronenberg. What am I different from his methodology? Naked lunch for a naked man, ever more derivative. As I read someone say that Plato said how writing deconstructs experience, this is exactly what I'm trying to do, undress my experience with a movie that is an adaptation of a book that was the undressing of the author, a junkie. And as soon as the horrible sounding jazz, due to my poor audio quality computer, enters with many names against a black background with traveling colored panels, I get dizzy, reminded of idesthesia and the never-ending combat between reducible and irreducible physicalism. What this has to do with stripping my experience naked, you tell me, for I am without a mirror and you fit the description. And as soon as Burroughs' name enter the black background, between two colorful spaces, one red and one green, I choke on spit in dilating esophagus movements, almost to vomit, like I also almost did while reading the book. Meaning comes in waves. Follow two quotes. Nothing is true, everything is permitted. And hustlers of the world, there is one mark you cannot beat. The mark inside. 1 hour in and I'm still in the 2 minutes mark, researching Alamet, and reading it. The room is 42 and the exterminator arrived. Reeks of postmodern influence. And then, in a restaurant, the perfect metaphor is happening, two random guys talking about rewriting. One says that to rewrite is to sin, then establishing an ethical viewpoint, while the other don't accept the Catholic interpretation of rewriting and find that guilt is the sin, not the act of rewriting, but the act of feeling guilt for cheating the deconstructed experience, of not expanding it, perfecting it to its fullest. Possible analogy to the liminal space of the author's time? The theme, then, is conveyed clearly. Is rewriting really censorship? To which our William Lee responds, exterminate all rational thought. Then they begin to talk about Lee's missing roach powder and possibility of collaboration in more commercial writing, weekly pornography. All to which Lee proclaims to have given up on writing since he was 10. Is it clear that this is about a conversation between, but not reducible to, 3 of the author's fragmented voices? Of course. But to what extent are these his personalities? Then we're to meet Lee's wife, who is shooting up her veins his working tool, the roach powder. He uses to work, she uses to enjoy herself. They're mutually exclusive, since if she uses it, he can't work, and if he uses it at work, she can't enjoy herself with it or at all if this is happening for time long enough. She begins to promote it as a Kafka high. You feel like a bug, and hands the insect poison human drug powder to Lee, who simply smiles, replying, well, I don't know, before testing it anyways. Like a proto-postmodern Eve handing Adam the forbidden fruit. Then a quick bar conversation about how people, including the exterminators, have been breathing on the powder so much it just make them laugh, just like the roaches. It is all abruptly cut to investigators' office that are investigating the yellow powder. Lee claims it to be no bug poison from work, but empirical evidence that it kills bugs is needed. A giant fucking practical effects beetle enters the scene to have it tested on. It begins to bathe in the powder before speaking to Lee as the real boss of the investigators, the one who organized this meeting. The bug is put in the position of case officer while the bug claims Lee to be his agent. This part makes me extremely uneasy. And it's all about the wife, that the bug claims not to be Lee's wife but an Intertson agent, and needs to be killed soon, this week to be more specific. Not forget to mention that it needs to be done real tasty. Lee responds by doing the only logical thing, smashing the bug with his shoe. Strange, since he argued to simply exterminate all rational thought. Back home Joan is acting like a full-fledged junkie. Then Lee goes to rub some of the powder on her lips just as he did to the beetle's lips. They kiss when the scene cuts to the metro. And I feel like trapped into translating the happenings of the movie into short sentences. What do I have to offer? The work, when you live it, is like a drug that corrupts your life. Yeah, but what could I contribute that anyone hasn't said in any way? Off to a specialist's help. Following clue from a companion, Lee receives advice to cure his wife addiction by inserting other powder drug, called simply black, into the yellow powder. Ironic. I'm getting shaky just as if I myself took the powder. That apple roaming antacids listening to K.Dot's new album, In and Out DNA, Through and Around. Then I put the rest of the apple over the table to attract bugs, especially roaches, companions in the powder. Should I rewrite? Between imaginary weed rolls I perceive how music truly forms my texts. How Kendrick will probably die from differences in repetition as represented in fear. Nothing comes over to eat the rotting apple. Like switching television channels. Anyways, a black powder made of aquatic Brazilian centipede. Truly outlandish material. And it smells like tainted cheese. The medic goes on to demonstrate how the black powder disappears in the yellow like an undercover agent. 0:22 and 1 second.